NGI Community complete final custom walk. Statesman recalls fond memories with Sir Michael. And educating young minds on gender-based violence.
This is National MTV News with Helen Seah.
Good evening and thanks for joining us for Friday's news. Sir Michael's closest political ally and friend last night led the New Ireland delegation as it paid its last respects. New Islanders came with East New Britain and West New Britain communities. Sir Julius Chan handed over a ceremonial spear, shell money and masks, the highest honours given from one chief to another.
Sir Julius Chan, Deputy Prime Minister in the first government, chief of his own people, didn't take centre stage last night as expected. His name was not on the list of guests as they spoke about Sir Michael's achievements. But he was central in the custom walk in the middle of the programme. New Ireland leaders who performed the rites explained the significance of the gifts. The first, a ceremonial spear handed over to Sir Michael's family for New Ireland's recognition at the end of his journey as Grand Chief.
The late Sir Michael Thomas Murray document. You are passed by Kilimol Manidalang. You are passed by Central.
They also presented shell money from 10 local level governments and masks symbolizing the highest honours in New Ireland society. Last year, Sir Michael visited New Ireland. It was his last official engagement. And for New Islanders, it was an honour that could not be forgotten.
At all relevant times, privately we are great friends. So I have lost a great friend, and Papua New Guinea has lost a great leader.
For the East New Britain community, their claim over Sir Michael began at birth. Last night they honoured him, Sir Michael Thomas Topalangat Somare, one of their own and the highest chief of the land, the pathfinder, the peacemaker.
The celebration of the life of Sir Michael Thomas Topalangat Somare will be done in recognition of his birth in East New Britain province, and as a significant person who was later adopted into the Male Male clan.
The richness of Papua New Guinea was brought to the fore. From the western half of New Britain, a procession singing a song marking the passing of a chief. They brought gifts for the father of the nation, pandanus mats, taro, pigs and shell money for Sir Michael's burial.
Unfortunately, because of the restrictions, pig na taro come along Hoskins this afternoon will be out at the Sheldon. What is being brought in to be handed over to you, an honourable member for Aita Felumi, and for all our distinguished guests, ministers, governors, to observe. All karukaya, and sleeping mats, mi planakana, mi play kolim lamoe. I think it's more comfortable than a mattress. Mi pleximikam. We also brought with us 100 tram of shell money. In an ideal situation, the shell money is placed on the casket.
Even in death, Sir Michael Somare has brought together clans, tribes and families and brought out the richness of 800 nations. Scott Whitey, National MTV News.
And now we have live pictures from the house cry over at the Sir John Guy's Indoor Complex in the nation's capital. Tonight is Manus Autonomous Region of Bougainville and Enga to pay their respects to the Grand Chief.
It is at this juncture where we'll be having speakers from the province of Enga stepping up on the podium to give their tributes. I would like to call upon the chairman of the Engen House Cry Organizing Committee, Mr. Peter Mission Yaki, to take proceedings from this point on for the Enga province segment of the House Cry. proceedings this evening.
Thank you, Master of Ceremony, Mr. Callaghan. I think distinguished guests have been adequately acknowledged, but let me, on record, acknowledge the presence of the Chief Mona and the Prime Minister of Papua New Guinea, Honorable James Marape, Governor of Enga, Chief Sir Peter Ipatas, Ministers, Governor of ECBIC, Honorable Alan Baird, Enga members of Parliament, mourners, the President of Autonomous Region of Bougainville, Honorable Ismail Torama, Member for Bougainville, Honorable Peter Siamalili Jr., people of Enga, Manus, and Arab. Please allow me at this juncture to moderate the Enga segment of the morning today, or this evening. We will start this with a poem read by a small girl, 8-year-old girl, whose dad is from Enga and whose mom is fittingly from Manus. Two of the provinces are here. The dad is from Enga, and the dad's mother is from New Ireland. She's an 8-year-old girl attending Lahare Avenue School. I think it is one of the dreams of late Grand Chief Sir Michael Thomas Sumare. When many people thought that this country of many thousand tribes were unable to come together as a country and as a nation, he proved them wrong, and he envisaged in his dream that one day provinces will unite, and by that, united through blood. So I will ask Ms. Pauline Wappen to come and read a poem.
Hello. Good evening. I have prepared a little poem about
Somebody come help.
Good evening. I have prepared a little poem about Grand Chief, our founding father. What it means to be Papua New Guinea, independent and free, You help us to see what life could be, living together in unity. 1,000 tribes and me. Thank you, Grand Chief Sir Michael Somare, from the children of Enga.
And just a reminder, the house cry will be live streamed on our Facebook page at EMTV Online right after the news at 7 p.m. to 10 p.m. Sir Michael Somare was awarded 8 doctorate degrees at various institutions in leadership, humanities and law over 49 years. In 1982, PNG University of Technology awarded the Grand Chief an honorary degree of Doctor of Technology for services to the development of PNG as a nation and for the education of its citizens. Unitec's Vice-Chancellor Dr. Ora Ranagi says the university is honored to have made the award to the country's great leader.
Commitment of late Sir Michael and the vision that he had in his own life to see Papua New Guinea become an independent nation was in itself a very remarkable achievement. Late Sir Michael was a visionary. He knew what he saw for the future of Papua New Guinea, and in his own life, in the background, he determined himself that he will lead this nation to independence. And in a way, as a technologist, as a University of Technology, we can say that Sir Michael engineered the nation to independence. And it was those skills, his communication skills, his determination to ensure that progress was made towards independence.
The PNG University of Technology in Lae has formed a committee that organized a commemorative vigil for the Grand Chief Sir Michael Somare. The vigil began on Monday and would end on Thursday next week with a worship service before a delegate from the university travels to Port Moresby for the Grand Chief's funeral service. The committee arranged a table with flowers in front of the Duncanson Hall with a picture of the Grand Chief surrounded with candles that stays for alight for 24 hours. According to Unitec's Vice-Chancellor Dr. Ora Ranagi, this is to give opportunity to individuals to pay respects and honor the life of the Grand Chief. Different denominations conduct the vigil in the evening. Last night's vigil was headed by the Catholic Church.
Instructed by the Office of the Prime Minister, and then that will be the end of the morning program. On Friday, Unitec is sending a delegation to Port Moresby and representing the council, the management and staff and students, and we will be attending the funeral service in Port Moresby. There will be about 12 of us traveling from Unitec.
The Morobe provincial government has finally released a commemorative program. The program was released in today's newspapers, however, it will be subjected to change. The week-long house sore will begin next week at the Sir Ignatius Kilage Stadium from 5 in the evening to 9:45 at night. The 9 districts and churches will lead in the program. The provincial government explained that the delay in releasing an official program for the province was because it was hoping for the hearse to transit through Lae before going to Wewak for a burial. You're watching National EMTV News. We'll be back with more of the day's stories after the break. Stay with us. Welcome back to the news. Senior statesman and a close friend of the Somare family says a memorial should be built for Sir Michael Somare. Sir Peter Bata explains that younger generations today can use Somare's example of what we as a country can do in the future to overcome some of the problems. He added that without the founding father, it is going to be much more difficult than what it is now.
Sir Peter Bata first met Sir Michael Somare when he was working as a volunteer pilot with the Franciscan Catholic Mission in Aitape in Sandaun Province. He later joined Territory Airlines, known as Talia later on, where him and Sir Michael crossed paths several times over the years and became very close friends.
When he was Chief Minister, I was a young pilot with Talia, or Territory Airlines at the time, and I was chosen very often to fly him around Papua New Guinea. Again, I had that opportunity of getting to know him better and better all these years.
Sir Michael was described as a man with a big heart who also had a strong Christian belief and shared a real passion for his country and the culture of his people. One of Sir Michael's proudest moments was when the opening of the National Museum in Port Moresby.
A great belief in preserving the culture of the people. In my area, I used to travel up and down the Sepik River very frequently on the Melanesian Discoverer and other boats that we had. And his support for me, moral support, was always outstanding. He often came with me on the trips, and we spent more time. Of course, more time with him, the more time I got to know him, and the more time I got to like him.
Sir Peter went on to explain that Sir Michael had patience and the ability to interact with people of all walks of life with his.
His ability to be able to sit down with people, reconcile the differences, to understand the cultural aspects of the people and being able to work with them and talk to them. He had big ideas and a big heart.
There are also funny moments Sir Peter and the Grand Chief shared on their trips together.
We bought this hotel in 1973. It was very colonial in those days, and we had 4 or 5 bars at the hotel, what was Hotel Madang. There was a boy bar at the back, and there was a sportsman's bar, and there was an exclusive bar inside where it is now the Sana Room, named after him. And the manager at the time, I won't give you his name, but it was Tom Abberton. And Tom Abberton basically threw him out of the Sana Room, which that bar was for white men only. So every time he came to Madang, and even until his death, he kept reminding me that this is one of the few hotels I've been thrown out of.
Sir Peter and Sir Michael shared a special bond.
I don't speak in long terms, but I could see the tears in his eyes, even though it was on telephone. Me too, I had tears in my eyes, as I've had since he passed away. But we love you, Somare, and we respect you. You're an icon, and you've left a great legacy for all young people to follow.
Being one of the closest family friends to the Somare family, Sir Peter Bata is supporting the call by the East Sepik Governor Alan Bird to honor Sir Michael's last wishes to rest in his own province.
And it's only fitting that, the people of Papua New Guinea now should allow his body to be flown back to where he comes from, his own home, and be buried in his own home, which is one of his last wishes.
Martha Louise, National EMTV News, Madang.
A group of young artists known as the Madang Art Maniacs have put up a mural honoring the father of the nation. MAM Representative Robert Banasi says the painting serves to remind the people of Madang and the whole country the kind of leadership he possessed.
Everywhere in Papua New Guinea, people are showing their sorrow over the loss of a man who gave his life to PNG. Here in Madang, a group of artists from the Madang Art Maniacs started painting a mural for Grand Chief Sir Michael Somare last week. The mural showed Sir Michael in his traditional and modern attire.
Making mural solo, backside is la mural lo yang time been style of traditional attire blong how mipla got strong one time pasin do tumunana. It actually gives us our value do mipla as Papua New Guineans. So one time this time come one time pasin tumuna pasin we mipla sawe long inshallah marang to holy mipla as our foundation. So lo front me depict him come lo older days belong him. When the formal attire as member of the parliament.
The young artist's idea to paint was also a thank you message to the founding father for bringing a diversified country to a united nation. This is a token of appreciation for great Grand Chief Sir Michael Somare.
One blahab when people line in Salomarang, people give him bell blom long Grand Chief. So anta long mural after line finish blom put lo top place bell straight lo so him sore blom people line Lomarang.
On Friday, their families, including surrounding communities, including Ward 1, will be hosting a 3-hour tribute from 6 to 9 p.m. at the Oval to commemorate St. Michael's life.
One plus show him some slides, life belong St. Michael Somare, and the one plus play him some music, by got some speeches, not got plenty speeches to us, then one got a moment of silence. Now, me plus show him, share him some story where me plus have long him long lapun where. Been walk one time, St. Michael Somare no sawe long him.
Mathalubis National MTV News, Medang.
Teachers and students of the Holy Spirit Primary School in Medang held a memorial service this morning. The students were in black whilst reflecting on the founding father's life and contribution in nation building. The school invited one of Medang's longtime friend of Sir Michael and former Medang Governor James Yali to speak to the students.
This morning, more than 300 students of the Holy Spirit Primary School gathered at the assembly area to pay their respects to the Grand Chief. Dressed in black, the students sang the national anthem and recited the pledge before hosting a memorial service at the school's chapel. A dedication prayer for Sir Michael Somare was offered with hymns of praise, sung in honor of the country's founding father. Invited to speak on the life and attributes of the Grand Chief was the former Medang Governor James Yali. Yali first met Sir Michael when he was a student at Tusbab High School.
I'm school or some sumatin long Tusbab High School. One time I've been visit. The last time me bong him Somare. Then me slowly me move go close long and as me progress long education below me go. Long university, me move go closer long establishing close relationship below me one time Grand Chief.
Yali recalled moments where he broke protocol and took Sir Michael to events not on Sir Michael's official program during Sir Michael's official visits to Medang.
I'm calling on the official program. So all police know that a big man will start on the official program. So time we begin and it's a calm on the list. We document. Now we know from the short trip we go on. Alexis happened, no say. All Catholic Mama Bunga, all Catholic Mama Boy, ECP, USCP, Medang, Rogan, on Bookstart. You can give sort of all the way you come. So all police are getting me on one side, long front, with placard. No program, or only we know what's going to be on the same. Me, the car, and mixing them, take off on the same. All police come on front, they're speaking on nothing on Medang. All inside, I'm going to have on Medang, we saw nothing on us. I was saying, we want them, friendship, we took around about 26, and what is law? Alexis happened. All kalau mereka besok mau final atau sekali mau dia dulu. Kalau polis oleh dia demi kalau maksa, kalau dia demi matanya mau dia demi mau final kalau mau mereka besok.
Yali told students that the founding father had an exceptional gift and an outstanding character who has not let anyone down. The former governor urged students to see Sir Michael as a role model and live up to what he would want them to.
Feeling you. And long life, political district, I go through, associate, pass on the kind of diploma. And some feeling out on man before they can even say something, and you can feel it on whether only got government and some positive mindset. Positive. On the good thinking I come or come the thinking of this
has that gift to feel. So using that gift, he was a dominant political power and son of God.
He said despite Grand Chief being removed as Prime Minister in 1980 through a successful vote of no confidence, he has never held grudges against any political leaders. He became Prime Minister again from 1982 to 1985 and won office for the third time in the 2002 election.
He's a unique person. I'm a movie member of a trial, and I go back and I give it one day. I'm not to make it peace I am. I'm not to forgive the forget. And that's why I'm a start over 50 years. Somare has never forcefully taken power from any other leaders. All time as I come back, we know all of this.
The memorial service held at the school is one of several services held concurrently in the province in honor of the great Grand Chief Sir Michael Somare. Martha Lewis, National EMTV News, Medan.
And now looking at the NASFund market reports, the Kina closed unchanged at $0.2850 in the interbank market. At Bank South Pacific, your Kina will buy $0.2775 $0.3546 Australian dollars, $0.2235 euro, and 28.32 Japanese yen. Looking at commodity prices at New York close, gold is trading lower, coffee and cocoa closed lower, and copper closed higher. Palm oil closed higher, crude oil is trading higher, and copper closed lower. And on the stock market, the Dow Jones closed at 345.95 points lower. The ASX 200 is trading at 49.91 points lower, and the All Ordinaries is trading at 57.64 points lower. You're at National EMTV News this Friday. The days are the stories when we come back. Don't go away. Welcome back to the news. Communities in Rabaul walked 5 kilometers yesterday to pay tribute to the Grand Chief. At Rapindik, Sir Michael Somare's birthplace, historical speeches were given by representatives from the Rabaul District Administration, Rabaul Historical Society, and various speakers representing the 4 regions.
The 5-kilometer walk started at 10:30 in the morning and was staged along the Malaguna Road to Mango Avenue, to Malay Town, to Old Rabaul Airport into Rapindik. This is where the Grand Chief Sir Michael Somare was born on the 9th of April 1936. Taking Grand Chief's death as a matter of PNG history, Conrad Dewey emphasized on the importance of PNG history.
You go back, you bring him, go students said, me look him, that place lo Somare, Mama Karim em loya. Then by you looking flag there, by you saw when I'm Mama Karim em, So it's good that those teachers out there, please teach him history in Salo school. By identity, you mean lose. Papua New Guinea, you make a plan the story. Na story stop yet. Some story me don't find out that.
Albert Coney, who represented the Rabaul Historical Society, upon giving brief history of Sir Michael's birthplace, said there indeed was segregation of power in the PNG colonial era.
Rabaul, during the early colonization time, there was segregation. Segregation meaning there was classes like high class, middle class, and low class. Grand Chief Sir Michael Somare was born on the 9th of April 1936. Papa Blongem, Ludwig Somare was Sergeant Major in the native police here. So, I've been born in one era where there was segregation.
On Wednesday evening next week, there will be a candle night as part of the mourning and respect in honoring the passing of the Grand Chief Sir Michael Somare. Alexis Sengi, National EMTV News.
And to other news, Statesman community screening campaign program is promoting awareness on gender-based violence in schools and NCD. So far, the campaign has reached 3 schools, Kila Secondary, Port Moresby Business College and Badihagwa Secondary School. The community outreach is an initiative of Capital Insurance Group in partnership with Papua New Guinea Tribal Foundation.
Statesman is a value-based anti-violence campaign that focuses on addressing violence against women, men and children through film and awareness. The program is sponsored by Capital Insurance Group in partnership with PNG Tribal Foundation.
Because we want communities to thrive and to grow and to do well. So what we hope to achieve is maybe just changing some attitudes, just getting a positive message out there and making people think twice about what's going on around them, and maybe and reflecting a more positive attitude towards each other, supporting each other. Yeah.
Campaign manager Yanam Lin said the program aims to educate students on GBV and to be able to change their mindsets as well as their behavior while at a young age.
The impact it is having on a person who is involved in this violent act. But how about making awareness before the violence happens? So this is a way of, it's a preventative measure.
Badihagwa Technical Secondary School was privileged to have an insightful talk with the Statesman Community Campaign Group.
So it's a good educational program for our students, so that they can understand what the real life is, and then as young people they can make the right choices and the right decisions.
So the important thing is you respect yourself as you respect others. So that is what I've learned through this program, Statesman.
Schools can play a critical role in protecting and educating children and youths now so they can be better people in the future. The awareness is estimated to target 2,000 to 3,000 students in Motu Koita and NCD. Esther Thailam, National EMTV News.
Former Secretary to the Department of Community Development has denied claims that she is for the legalization of prostitution in the country. She was misquoted by people and has been accused of trying to legalize prostitution. She says in her tenure as the Secretary for the Department of Community Development, she has been vocal on issues affecting families, women, children and youths.
The former secretary was speaking after her nomination for the Moresby Northwest by-election yesterday. She says she was misquoted by people and she was not for the legalization of prostitution.
People have been saying if I go into Parliament, I will legalize prostitution. I want to make a correction here. I never have and I won't support legalizing prostitution. And you are hearing that from me. Why do I say this? Because it is an international agenda. It is not ours.
The issue of sex workers in the country is not a new agenda. According to Bice, a bill to legalize prostitution was presented to Parliament. However, that happened before her appointment as the Secretary for the Department of Community Development. The bill was never introduced to the department and it was struck out by Parliament.
And I said if it had come to the department, as a department that deals with human rights and as a department that deals with religion, we would have done a consultation. We would have brought the sex workers in, we would have brought the churches in, we would have brought all partners in, so we would find a way forward.
Prostitution, like many other agendas, is an international agenda. To ensure these agendas do not influence the country's policies, the department has proposed for the government to recognize PNG as a Christian nation. She says it is a diplomatic way to stop international partners from pushing their agendas.
It's an international agenda. Same-sex marriage is also an international agenda. Abortion is also an international agenda. It is not our agenda. That is why the department proposed to NEC to recognize this nation as a Christian nation. It is a diplomatic way to actually stop all international partners from trying to push their agendas into our nation.
In her term as the Secretary, she has been pushing for support for the informal sector. The informal sector is the sector that feeds most people in the country, and it is a better pathway to redirect women who think prostitution is the only way out. However, there was no support.
For informal sector, which is a sector that feeds a lot more families in Papua New Guinea than the formal sector. And I've been asking for funding year in, year out, which we never got funded for. But that is a great pathway to redirect some of these women or mothers who think that that is the only profession they can go in, to redirect them.
Rayon Lakingu National, EMTV News.
And Chukai Sports is next. All the details after the break.
Chukai Sports.
Welcome to Chukai Sports. Sir John Dawa-Ninkura, the president of the PNG Olympic Committee, said the late Grand Chief Sir Michael Somare was a proud Papua New Guinean and always supported Team PNG when he was the Prime Minister of the country. It was through his efforts that PNG gained independence and allowed for the country's flag to be raised and the national anthem sung during the Pacific Games, a proud moment for the Grand Chief.
So on behalf of the board, management and staff of the Papua New Guinea Olympic Committee, I wish to extend our sympathies and condolences to Lady Veronica and the Somare family. As a nation, we absorbed the lessons from Sir Michael, and he taught us well. So Sir Michael, you're a national hero and a great humanitarian that rubbed shoulders with royalty and leaders from around the world, and at the same time kept your finger on the pulse of every Papua New Guinean that either you met or that knows you.
Award-winning photojournalist and filmmaker, surf media veteran Shane Peel has passed his condolences and respects to the late Grand Chief Sir Michael Somare. Peel is a world-renowned journalist whose most recent works in the film Snow Surf, an award-winning documentary that has captured the world over since its release in 2015. Peel attended the inaugural PNG surf titles in Vanimo East Sepik Province, Papua New Guinea in 2007, where the late Grand Chief was also in attendance to witness and launch the first ever national surfing event in Papua New Guinea.
I just wanted to pass on a message of how sad I am to hear the passing of the Grand Chief, Sir Michael Somare. I'm sure all my close friends in PNG will be feeling this loss. Sir Michael was an inspiring leader in PNG and the father of the nation. His support of surfing in PNG and Andy Abel's incredible reverse spiral management system was strong. And as that's gone on to become world famous, I often think about how Sir Michael was there in the early days to support it. At those first national titles in Vanimo, where he pushed a surfboard out into the sea as part of the opening ceremony. And you could tell he was connected to the whole concept, even as a casual observer, that he really felt it. He's a proper inspiring leader. My deepest thoughts and condolences go out to Sir Michael's family and all the people of PNG. Rest in peace, Sir Michael.
And Chukai Sports continues with more after the break. Stay with us.
Chukai Sports.
Welcome back to Chukai Sports. Building a strong foundation for women's football in the country has been the driving factor behind the establishment of the Women's National Soccer League. With the upcoming FIFA Women's World Cup in 2023 co-hosted by Australia and New Zealand, the PNG Football Association has put its full commitment behind the women's game, building towards the qualification of the national women's team for the World Cup.
With the Women's National Soccer League heading into its finals, chairperson of the WNSL, Diane Peliokai, commended the hard work and commitment of the board, PNGFA, and all other stakeholders in ensuring the commencement of the WNSL competition this season. women's football is in a stronger position with the annual national competition, strengthening the foundation already set by the PNG women's football team amongst the Pacific Island nations.
Thank you, Milato, Islo, all parents, family members. I think time we plus starting league, no got 20 man believe law, women's football. But because of support, they play all Pikinini Mary, now girls, all Mary Blöitla or girlfriend, or that make it possible or Mary come na pilay. So I think Lohai Blo, Mipla Geta. You know, a lot of pride, people are looking women's football and come back in. Over the day, people keep on pushing PNGFA competition team.
Qualification for the upcoming FIFA Women's World Cup in 2023, co-hosted by Australia and New Zealand, is a prime objective for the PNGFA. The WNSL plays a vital role in boosting the morale and preparations for the nation's top female talents, directing our national women's football team on the right path, taking the stage at football's premier event.
So thank you, Lord, support
Huxley Lovai, Chukai Sports.
And that story wraps up Chukai Sports. The weather details after the break.
Chukai Sports. Chukai Sports.
This weather update is proudly brought to you by MoniPlus, with you always.
I'll look at the weather forecast for tonight and tomorrow in the southern region. Partly cloudy tonight with morning squally rain in Port Moresby, Daru, Kerma and Alotau, and rain drizzles tonight, then a cloudy morning in Popondetta. In the Momasa region, cloudy with occasional rain showers in Lae, some brief evening showers in Medang, and partly cloudy with brief showers in Wewak and Vanimore. In the New Guinea Islands region, mostly fine though partly cloudy in Lorengau, partly cloudy tonight with brief morning showers in Kavieng, cloudy tonight with morning rain showers in Kokopo and Rabaul, occasional rain showers and possible thunderstorms in Kimbe, and cloudy with a few showers in Buka. And in the Highlands region, a few rain showers tonight, then morning fog in Mount Hagen, cloudy with rainy periods, then morning fog in Goroka, Kondia, Wamendi and Wabeg.
The weather update was proudly brought to you by MoniPlus, with you always.
And now we cross over to Sir John Guy's Indoor Complex, where Justice Salamo NGI is giving his speech representing Enga Province.
2011 and 2012. He was dishonorably removed as head of the parliamentary executive when he was on his sick bed overseas. The Supreme Court twice restored him to office. Twice, the Parliament and the executive resisted. He, in his wisdom, taught us to have compassion for our people and even those of our adversaries, and to avoid doing anything that would harm the people. He did not raise his hand or voice in anger. I really don't know what was going through his mind, and we will never know. But if I were to put my own spin to it, what he did or did not do in this trying time was an act of compassion and the longing for peaceful coexistence of his children, which comes only from a fatherly figure fatherly figure like him. That's a rare quality. He taught us to live and coexist peacefully with ourselves and to seek peaceful resolution of our disputes through consensus. And if that were to fail, then to resort to lawful means in resolving them. I followed his political career after I heard him in 1972 and learned a few lessons myself from him and applied them to deal with my own challenges in public life. This reminds me of what he wrote in that book that he spoke so passionately about, the Constitution. In the preamble or introduction to the Constitution, he wrote this: "We, the people of Papua New Guinea, acknowledge the worthy customs and traditions and traditional wisdom of our people, which have come down to us from generation to generation. And we assert that we reject violence and seek consensus as a means of solving our common problems." Papua New Guinea, I believe, today is at the crossroad. And it so seems that we are at a crossroad at this very juncture on the occasion of the departure of our father. The culture and evils of violence is breathing down on us every hour and every day. It's breathing down on us, on our families, on our governments, everyone. Violence is seen and felt everywhere, even in some very unlikely places, among very unlikely people too, from whom no one expects violent behavior, and perpetrated among very unlikely victims that are helpless and in need of our protection. Hi,
And just a reminder, the House Cry will be live streamed on our Facebook page at EMTV Online straight after the news at 7 p.m. to 10 p.m. And that's been the news, sport and weather for Friday, 5th of March 2021. On behalf of the news team, pleasant viewing, be safe and good night.